Learners, welcome back to the channel Economics at Ease. I'm Nida, your educator, and today we are going to discuss the very most important topic of law of diminishing marginal utility. Okay, so here in this law, before we discuss, I would like to just tell you here to subscribe to Economics at Ease, your shortcut to scoring full marks in economics. Okay, so as usually, the same pattern I'm going to follow. I'm going to share it on the screen. The book is Sandeep Garg. Okay, and in whatever the books you are using in your college or school उसमें भी same ही definition होगी, right? So but before this, in simple words, I would like to explain the law of diminishing marginal utility here. That is, the law of diminishing means कम होना किसी चीज का, decrease करना. Okay, marginal means additional, and utility means that is the usefulness. Okay, so the law of diminishing marginal utility states that as a consumer consumes more and more units of commodity, the additional satisfaction, that is the marginal utility you derive from each additional unit, keeps on decreasing while total satisfaction increases at a decreasing rate. Okay, so in this, what we are going to discuss here, that is the diminishing marginal utility. It's very important law, okay, of economics, law of diminishing marginal utility. और ये कम से कम आपका 4 to 6 marks का ये question carry करता है, in which you need to first define the law, that is the meaning of the law, then assumptions, then diagram, and then explanation, right? So you will score the full marks then. So law of diminishing marginal utility, that is DMU short में कहते हैं, states that as we consume more and more units of a commodity, जैसे जैसे हम ज्यादा एक चीज की कोई भी commodity, for example पिज्जा है और आइसक्रीम और chocolates, as we are going to consume more and more, the utility, that is the satisfaction we derive from each successive units, goes on decreasing, because at a point it will come कि आपने पहले चॉकलेट में 20 आपको जो है यूटिल्स आपने डिराइव किया, दूसरी चॉकलेट खाएंगे तो हो सकता है आपको फिर वहां पे 15 यूटिल्स आप डिराइव करोगे, जब थर्ड चॉकलेट खाओगे तो एक जो सेटिस्फैक्शन लेवल होता है वो क्या होता है, डिक्रीज करता चला जाता है. ओके, एंड अ पॉइंट विल कम व्हेन आपको अब आप कहेंगे कि नहीं, यू नीड नो मोर चॉकलेट्स नाउ टू ईट. ओके, सो in making choices, most people spread their incomes over different kinds of goods. People prefer a variety of goods because consuming more and more of any one good reduces the marginal satisfaction derived from further consumption of the same good. यानी कि एक उसी good का बार बार जब further consumption करते हैं, you don't want to get more and more, because the marginal satisfaction derived जो होता है आपका उसका same good, it goes on reduces or decreasing. This law expresses an important relationship between utility, that is usefulness, and quantity consumed of a commodity. Let us understand with the help of an example. Now here with the help of example, you will just mention the definition, and with a small example. Suppose your father has just come from work and you offer him a glass of juice. The first glass of juice will give him great satisfaction. The satisfaction with the second glass of juice will be relatively less. With the further consumption, a stage will come when he would not need any more glass of juice. That is when the marginal utility drops to zero. अब मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी क्या हो गई, आपको जीरो पे आ गई. अब आप उसको और कंज्यूम नहीं कर सकते. एक ग्लास जूस पिया, 2 ग्लास पिया, 3 ग्लास पिया, ना एट फोर्थ तो आपको क्या होगा, अब डांट पड़ जाएगी सीधे फादर से कि क्या मजाक चल रहा है, क्या मतलब मेरे पेट को क्या समझा है, कुआं समझा है ना, फॉर एग्जाम्पल. After that point, if he is forced to consume even one more glass of juice, it will lead to disutility. Okay, तो मैंने एक सिंपल मजाकिया तौर पे आपको वो चीज एक्सप्लेन कर दी है, सेम चीज यहाँ पे बता दी गई है. Such a decrease in satisfaction with consumption of successive units occurs due to law of diminishing marginal utility. Okay, तो ये हमारे एक्सपीरियंस में होता ही है, नॉर्मल एक प्रैक्टिकली आप ये करके भी देख सकते हो कि किसी भी चीज पे, एग्जाम्पल पिज्जा भी हो सकता है, आइसक्रीम भी हो सकती है, चॉकलेट्स और a glass of juice. The law of DMU has universal applicability and applies to all goods and services. Okay, it was first given by the German economist H.H. Gaussen, which is why it is also known as Gaussen first law of consumption. तो अगर एग्जाम में आपको इस तरह भी पूछा सकता है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल प्लीज एक्सप्लेन द गॉसन फर्स्ट लॉ ऑफ कंजम्पशन, तो आपको पूरा यही एक्सप्लेन करना होगा with assumptions, with diagram, and with explanations. So one by one we are going to discuss the assumptions of law of diminishing marginal utility. इसको एक एक दो दो पॉइंट में आप खाली कर लेंगे. Okay, now first one is the cardinal measurement of utility. It means that a satisfaction can be measured in numbers. Okay, 1 2 3 किसी भी तरह कर सकते हैं. Monetary measurement of utility, that means it can be also measured in terms of money. Okay, so how much money is a person is willing to pay for a product shows how much satisfaction it gives. Okay. Then in simple language, I'm just telling you. Then consumption of reasonable quantity. It means the quantity should be reasonable, not too small or too large. Example, if someone eats 100 chocolates at once, the law will not work properly because it's an unrealistic situation. Okay, so the law should be true, suitable, and proper quantity of the commodity should be consumed. Then continuous consumption. Now, the most important assumption is that is the goods should be consumed one after another without long breaks. Okay, you cannot you cannot give a gap. Okay, for example, if one ice cream is consumed in the morning and another in the evening, then this law will not be applicable. Okay, so if there is a long gap, your hunger or desire may return and the law may not apply. Then no change in quality. That is, all the units consumed must be of the same quality. No change will be there. Okay. Then the rational consumer. It means here the consumer is assumed to be wise and sensible, aiming to get the maximum satisfaction from the money spent. Right. Then independent utilities. What do you mean by this here? Each commodity gives its own satisfaction independent of others. Okay. For example, here the utility of tea and coffee are different. Satisfaction from tea does not depend on coffee. Okay, so you can take the example here, that is MU of one commodity, that is MU is marginal utility of one commodity, has no relation with MU of another commodity. Okay, then the eighth one, marginal utility of money remains constant. Here, as a consumer spends money on a commodity, he or she is left with less money to spend on other commodities. In this process, the remaining money becomes dearer to the consumer and increases MU of money for the consumer. Okay. So it means the value of money does not change during the process of consumption. Then 9 point, fixed income and prices. It is considered that is the income of the consumer and the price of the goods remains unchanged while consuming different units. Okay. So if the prices or income changes, the law may not hold true. इसको एक एक दो दो sentences में बस आपको खाली लिखना है. Okay. And this is very important. तो इसमें से तीन चार आप assumptions ले लेगा. Okay. And then you can define it. Then perfect knowledge. It is assumed that the consumer has complete knowledge about the product, that its quality, price, and other substitutes. This helps them make a rational and fair decision about consumption. Okay. So now here we can say that is a diagrammatic explanation of law of DMU. Here you can see that is the units of ice cream is taken. The three columns have been made: total utility and marginal utility. टोटल यूटिलिटी मतलब टोटल सेटिस्फैक्शन वो तो इंक्रीज करता रहेगा, लेकिन मार्जिनल यूटिलिटीज मींस द डिफरेंस बिटवीन टी यू एन माइनस वन मैंने आपको पिछले क्लास में फॉर्मूला बताया था, दैट यू गोइंग टू अप्लाई, दैट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन द टू यूनिट्स. दैट इज 36, पहले में तो 20 आया, 36 माइनस 20 यू विल गेट 16, 46 माइनस 36 यू विल गेट 10, then 50 minus 46 4, 50 minus 50 equals to 0, and 44 minus 50 minus 6. So in this way we can easily calculate the marginal utility. Okay, and we can see that is the total utility is increasing but marginal utility is decreasing. Okay, 20, 16, 10, 4, and at this point where the MU is 0, this point is known as the point of satiety. Okay, this point is known as the satiety. It means with the help of this you can see at first your satisfaction increases quickly, but after a few slices or after the few ice creams, okay, you start losing interest. Okay, and finally, if you eat too much, your satisfaction even becomes negative. You feel uncomfortable. That is the negative. Okay. And when you are reaching this point, a rational consumer will always try to just stop at this point where where MU is 0. Okay. Now here, with the help of a diagram, you just can draw the diagram like this, and the MU curve slopes downward from left to right, right? Showing that as consumption increases, marginal utility decreases. Consumption, that is this consumption increases, the marginal utility decreases. With the help of this diagram, you can also make it like this. Then on the x-axis, units of commodity consumed, right? And on the y-axis, you have taken marginal utility of the product, okay? Then you can see here eventually touches the x-axis, okay? That is the MU touches the x-axis, that is the point of satiety, it becomes 0, and after that it becomes negative. Okay, जब यहाँ पे negative हो जाएगा, that is beyond that it falls below x-axis where MU becomes negative. Okay, then the whole explanation is like that only. Now explore more about law of DMU. That is, in certain situations, MU may increase. For example, a thirsty person may be more satisfied with the second glass of water as compared to the first one. It all depends on the circumstances. But economists normally assume that MU continuously falls. MU का nature ही यही है कि वो fall करेगा, right? No indication about the rate of fall in MU. यहाँ पे कोई indication नहीं कितने rate से वो गिरेगा. Okay. Then synonyms of law of DMU, it's very important. इस अलग नाम से जाना जाता है, fundamental law of satisfaction or fundamental psychological law. Okay, so with this we can conclude the law teaches that rational consumer stops consuming when marginal utility becomes zero, because consuming more gives no additional satisfaction. Okay, it will become negative if you are going to consume more after this point, at this point of satiety. And a rational consumer will consume up to the point where marginal utility becomes zero. Beyond that, consumption leads to discomfort or negative utility. Hope you like the explanation, and please do explain as I have told you to score more in economics. Okay, thank you.